Welcome everybody, Peter Valley here, and this video, this is an important one. This is probably in a three-way tie for the most important video that you could possibly watch, okay? This is where the rubber meets the road. This is where I walk you through every single facet of our search dashboard, every search option, every search result. So this will all become crystal clear because I know, I get it, right? Like you're looking at this for the first time and you're like, oh my gosh, it's like the Millennium Falcon dashboard, and it's really intimidating, right? But I promise you by the end of this video, this will be so simple, you basically will just go on autopilot and you won't even have to like think about it anymore, okay? So for each search option, I'm gonna tell you two things. I'm going to tell you what its function is, and then I'm going to tell you exactly how it will make you money, okay? Because I know that's all you care about. You don't want to you're done with all the theoretical stuff. I talked about a lot of that in the Quick Start webinar, right? You just want to get right down to the tactics, okay? So that's what I'm going to do. And it's important for me to mention that nothing here, none of the search options are here by accident, okay? We have refined this over several years of Zen Arbitrage's existence. Everything here is here very deliberately, okay? There's no filler here. So it's important that you understand every single thing that I'm gonna talk about here. And if you miss anything, it will cost you, okay? Okay? And this video will pay potentially a lifetime of dividends if you take the time to understand what I'm gonna talk about here in every single thing that I'm going to cover. So just to recap, and I have to stress this like 10 times over, which is that this business is very, very simple. I know you're getting blasted with a lot of stuff right now. You're looking at all these numbers and you're like, what the heck? Fundamentally, all this business is taking the price in the used column over here, or the new column, and comparing it to the price in the FBA column, and then determining items that have the potential for profit and purchasing those items and reselling them. That's this entire business, right? Now, yes, there's more to it than that because you're not always going to match this price in the FBA column, and there's more to it than that, but fundamentally that's this entire business, okay? So everything here, all these search options are geared towards pointing you to profitable books. So when we talk about setting the search options in different ways and tweaking them and setting them to your own liking, what we're really trying to do is two things. Number one, we're trying to refine the search results so that it will only show you books that are suitable for you, right? Because everyone's going to have different standards. You might be not willing to pay more than $10 per book, or you might only want to pay $50 and up per book, or you only want books that have really high turnover, or you're willing to sit on books for a while and wait for them to sell if it'll bring you a big profit, right? All of these things will refine the search results to give you the books that are suitable for you. That's number one. Number two is that you can tweaking the search results serves the second function of increasing the likelihood of profitable offers showing in the search results. Does that make sense? I'm going to teach you how each of these can be tweaked to increase the likelihood that the results are going to be profitable. Now remember, there is no such a thing as the right search where you just hit the search button and then it just spits out a list of profitable books, right? That's not how this business works. You wouldn't want a business like that because then the person with the deepest pockets would come along and just buy everything, right? So that's good. It keeps things equitable and sustainable for everybody. But it's important you understand that all of these search options are geared towards those two things. So there is no one right way to set the search options. That's kind of the big message I want to leave you with as we get into this, is there is no one right way. Because if you did a search, you set everything like this very specific way, and then you hit search, and then it spit out a list, and you're like, wow, half of these are profitable. Guess what will happen when you come back 6 hours from now? Totally different results, right? This is a dynamic, constantly changing database, right? We're refreshing stuff like millions of items a day, right? Like tens of millions a day. So the point is, there is no one right way to search. I just want to make that very, very clear. Okay, so with that said, let's get into it. We'll start at the top and we'll work our way over. So this is one thing that a lot of people miss. When you sign in for the first time, it is by default set to enhanced view. But look, it's actually a toggle switch. And what this does is when you switch it to the left, it's a streamlined view. And what that does is that strips out several columns. I think it's like 4 columns of data, and only shows you the bare bones data, right? So we take out the trading value, we take out the publisher, we take out the year. I think we maybe take out the current rank. So we take out 4 columns and only show you the bare bones stuff. So if you're like looking at this and you're like, wow, this is too much, I don't know what any of this stuff is, or I don't want to deal with extraneous stuff right now, just go ahead and switch it to streamline view and you'll just get the bare minimum, and you can do just fine just with what you see right here in the streamline view. Okay, next up is training and support. This will of course take you right over to our training portal, and also you can see the email address here. Reach out for any reason. And on the subject of support, it's worth mentioning now, we have a chat box in the lower right-hand corner. You can ask any question you want, or you can search for articles by just typing in a keyword, and we give you a list of suggested articles on any particular subject and whatever you're searching for. It's a great way to get the answers you're seeking really fast. Next up is our upgrade page, and what this does is takes you to our plan page where you can add our other tools. We have several tools available. You can also add an annual plan at a discounted rate. Just go ahead and click on there at different times and see what's over there. We're constantly adding new products, and so it's worth going over there. And especially if you're in for the long haul, you're definitely want to lock in the annual plan price because you get several months for free that way. Next up is our ISBN marketplace. Separate videos about that. Hopefully you know what that is because that's really, really important. Next up is our sales tracking page, and this is where when you mark an item as purchased, you can track all of your sales, all your purchases, all your profits, everything on this page. Next up is community, and that just simply means our Facebook group. And then your account page, you can do things like add your credit card, see just different things, see what plan you're subscribed to, etc., etc. And of course, if you want to log out here, you can do that here, but don't, because why would you ever want to log out? Ever, ever, ever. And first up, the search bar where you can search by publisher, search by title keyword, or search by ISBN. So these all work basically the same way. So let's just say, for example, you want to search by publisher and you just type in any publisher name. We have a list of academic publishers you can download on the resource page. But you can just enter any word, you click search, and we will only show you books for which are published by that publisher, or at least where this word appears in the, whoops, I switched this off, but appears in this column here. Okay, so it's pretty straightforward. Title keyword works the exact same way. We will, if you enter any keyword, anytime, any book for which that word appears in the title, we will show you that book. Really straightforward. And ISBN, the only thing that's worth mentioning with the ISBN is that you have to enter the 10-digit ISBN, not the 13-digit. All books have both, okay? Now, I promised you I would tell you how each of these will make you money, and let's do that. So the publisher and title basically work the same way. Now, we've talked in other videos about how the most profitable book niche is textbooks. And so, and again, this isn't, online book arbitrage is not just for textbooks. You'll hear me stress that a lot. However, textbooks tend to be the most profitable category. So what publisher will do and title will do is actually help you point to textbooks. So again, there are publishers who specialize in textbooks. There are publishers who only publish nonfiction for an academic audience. And then, of course, there are also keywords that only appear in the titles, or I shouldn't say only, but will most often appear in the titles of textbooks. In other words, subjects for which nobody would care about them if they weren't basically forced to care about them by a professor, right? Like, thermodynamics or like whatever, right? Like there's lots and lots of keywords you can come up with that are probably only going to appear or mostly going to appear in the title of textbooks. Okay, so that's number one. Number one way these will make you money is it will point to the most profitable category. The number two way this will make you money is, just consider this for a second. If you set a really, really broad search, like let's just say you said, okay, any book ranked 1 million or better, and you just hit apply filters, or you just maybe set something else, but it was really broad, and it's going to bring up tens, if not hundreds of thousands of books, right? So here's the thing. The chances are pretty good that others in Arbitrage members have already done that same search because it's such a broad search. Now, let's consider, for example, and then by the way, just because other people have done it doesn't mean there's not tons of profit left over. There always is, simply because the database is just changing constantly, right? And there's not enough Zen Arbitrage members, of course, to even come close to siphoning off the opportunity. But let's just say you want to get a list of results down here that are totally fresh, that like no one's looked at for like days or weeks or whatever. How would you do that? Well, it's actually really easy. Use the publisher keyword or title keyword search option. So let's say, for example, you do a search and it brings up, tens of thousands of books. You can enter any keyword here, biology, like whatever, right? Any keyword, and the chances of anyone else, any other Zen Arbitrage members using that same keyword are virtually zero. So you're basically seeing a list of fresh results that no one has looked at in who knows how long. right? So those are the two ways that these options will make you money. Does that make sense? The price-based options, this is so self-explanatory, it doesn't even need any explanation whatsoever. You basically set the minimum or the maximum, and we will not show you any book that falls outside of those parameters. You can enter through the drop-down, you can use the slider, or you can enter anything manually, like that, okay? Really, really straightforward. Now, when you set these figures here, used or new prices, these are the price minus shipping costs, okay? So if you set a parameter, let's just say you set, a penny and then max of like $10, what you're gonna notice is you're not gonna see books for a penny. You're in this column. You're gonna see $4, $5, and on the flip side of that, you're gonna see a lot of books when you get to the end of the list, if you sort by use price, you're gonna see a lot of books that are actually priced higher than $10. And so you're gonna be confused. You're gonna be like, wait a minute, I set a max of 10. Why am I seeing books for $11, $12, $13, $14? And the reason is that when these sort options only apply to the price minus shipping costs. And so you'll notice what happens, and actually let me just do a search really quick. When you hit the search button, watch what happens. For a split second, you'll see a penny, right? And then it goes through and starts refreshing everything. See how it goes down? It's just refreshing things really fast, right? What it's doing is it's adding shipping. It's going to Amazon and say, hey, Amazon, okay, we got to this is a penny plus postage. What is the postage? And then we quickly add it, right? And so you'll notice, it takes a little bit of time for it to catch up, but it might take 10 or 15, 20 seconds to get all the way to the bottom of the page. But it's just doing all of the shipping costs one at a time, okay? So when you set these options, it only applies to the price minus shipping. Okay, so you will see results outside of these parameters for that reason. You will see results higher than the max price you set for that reason. Does that make sense? The second reason this is worth mentioning is, let's just say you notice here how we have it set by used price, right? So that means low to high, right? Now you can set this by new or Amazon or whatever, but when it's set to used price, here's what's going to happen. You're going to notice the results you can actually see it here. The results are actually out of order. So it goes 4, 4, $4.99, then back to 4. And you're like, wait a minute, Zen arbitrage is broken. It's not working right. And actually, no, it's working exactly as it should. It's sorted from low to high by the price minus shipping. Okay. Then when we go and add shipping, because shipping is a variable cost, it can be $3.99, which is actually the most common. But like in the case of this book, it's $4.98 because this book is a penny plus, and it's $4.99 total. So the shipping can be variable. So when you'll see results that are a little bit out of order, and that's the reason. They're in order when you subtract the shipping, and they're slightly out of order when you add the shipping. Does that make sense? So don't get confused. Nothing's broken. It's working exactly as designed. Okay, so with that understanding, how do the used and new options make you money? Well, a couple things. Number one, the more you're willing to spend per book, the easier it's going to be to find profitable books. It's just a simple economics that if you're not willing to spend more than $10 per book, the FBA offers are also going to plummet with the price, and so they're going to bunch up, and it's just going to be really difficult to find profitable books, okay? So the higher you can set the floor price, the more you're willing to pay per book, the easier it's going to be to find opportunity. It is literally 10 times easier to find profitable books that are priced $35 and up or $40 or whatever. The higher the better, but it's 10 times easier than if you were spending, less than $15 per book. Okay, literally 10 times. And that $20 makes a massive difference. So, and it's totally fine if you want to just focus on really, really cheap books. You can build a business around that. Just understand your profit margins are going to be a lot smaller than if you're willing to spend a lot more, okay? So let's just say, hey, I'm not willing to spend more than, $55 per book. I'm not willing to spend, I don't want to see any books that are less than 20 because I know those books tend to be, just really, really high probability of not having any profit. So you can set your parameters that way, but just understand the role. The more you're willing to spend, the easier it's going to be to find opportunity. Okay, and that applies to used and new. The one thing I'll mention, don't ever use the used and new at the same time. Okay, so you're going to filter out 99.99% of all results. Either do a search for used books or search for new books, but never set these at the same time, okay? Next up is Amazon's price. What is Amazon's price? That is the price that Amazon is selling a book for directly, okay? So the vast majority of books that are well ranked Amazon has those copies in stock and they will sell them directly, okay? Meaning, not through third-party sellers like you and I, from Amazon directly. Now, keep in mind that the majority of books overall, Amazon does not have a price for, but the majority of books that are well ranked, like better than 1 million, Amazon does have in stock, okay? So understand that I personally think this is among the least useful of the search options, simply because it eliminates a lot of the results unnecessarily. So I personally don't like to use this, but I'll tell you the two main functions of it. And the two ways it can make you money. Number one is that textbooks, which again are the most profitable category, and I'm gonna say again, this business is not just about textbooks, but if you're looking for textbooks, most textbooks will have an Amazon price of $50 and up. Okay, so if you do a search where you say, hey, Zen Arbitrage, don't show me any book that Amazon is not selling for less than $50. Well, there's a very good chance that a lot, if not a majority of the results are going to be textbooks, okay? Because textbooks tend to have a really, really high Amazon price. So that's number one. The other way this can make you money is that Amazon's price is always the ceiling, okay? You can never price higher than Amazon and ever expect to get a sale. So you see all these books right here, right? $8, $6, $3, $10. This is Amazon's price. These are instantly, at a glance, you can tell there's 0% chance you can sell these at a profit, because there's no way to make money when you're selling a book for $10, right? The Amazon commissions will eat up everything. So with that understanding, the higher you set the floor, then you will basically eliminate you raise the ceiling, right? So now you're like, all right, I'm not going to see any book that Amazon is not selling for less than $40. Amazon's selling for less than $40. Well, that's cool, because now your ceiling is been raised to $40. So you're not going to get, you eliminated all these books. So down here that are all, at a glance you can tell they're unprofitable, right? Does that make sense? So, but keep in mind, Amazon is not selling, and this is why I don't really like this search option. Amazon's not selling a lot of books. There's a lot of books that Amazon isn't selling that might be profitable. So it's everything with online book arbitrage. I'm going to repeat this multiple times. Everything good comes at a cost. So you might go, oh, cool. Textbooks tend to be expensive, so I'll just go, okay, I don't want to see anything that's Amazon selling for less than 100. Then I'll just see a bunch of textbooks. Well, yeah, sure, that can work. But you keep in mind, you're eliminating 99.9% of all results, and a lot of that 99% of those results would have been profitable for you. So you kind of left a lot of money on the table because you wanted the easy way out, which is just to set a really conservative search parameter. That's it's an easy way out. It's basically a way of avoiding actually putting the work in to combing through the results, right? So it's kind of a lazy man's way to you get high quality results, but you just filtered out a ton of potentially profitable books too, right? So everything comes at a cost, okay? Understand that. And so I want to show you that Amazon is not selling all books. Let me see if we can find an example here. Okay, so here's one. Like, Amazon's not selling this book. There's just blank. There's no offer for Amazon. So Amazon's not selling that book. Last thing I'll say about this is it's important to keep in mind that we get all our data from Amazon. And the used and new prices are live. They refresh instantly as soon as you do a search. So those are live. We get those. We're not pulling that from like our archives. That is live data from Amazon. As soon as you do a search, we send a live request to Amazon. Hey, Amazon, what's the shipping cost? And we add that, right? So with that understanding, the Amazon column is a little bit different. We don't get that. The data that Amazon sends us for that is not quite as current. So sometimes you'll see some discrepancies. It's not going to be huge, but sometimes, and it's not really our fault. It's just Amazon is just kind of weird about. It's just weird about how they share their data. Okay. Okay, so next up is the average rank search option. This is something you're going to use for the vast majority of all your searches. Okay, this is one of those search parameters that is almost indispensable. The exception is there are many ways to profit from our database that involves really poorly ranked books. These are kind of advanced tactics that I'm not even really covering in this video, or I don't really cover them much at all. But there are definitely ways you can turn poorly ranked books into profit using our database. However, the vast majority of the searches you're going to do are going to involve actually setting this average rank parameter. Okay, so here's what I recommend. And just to kind of skip to like the hard tactical stuff here, I recommend that when you start, you keep this to 500,000 or lower. Okay, and I'll explain how all this works here in a second, but just remember that number. That's my recommendation. And then as you get more experience, as you get more sales coming in, then I would think you can safely raise this to 750,000 or $1 million. Okay, and you can always enter a custom number here too if you want to enter, 800,000 or 900,000 or something. So the reason I recommend this is that when you get started, and assuming that you have limited capital to invest, it's really best if you get some momentum, some quick momentum, and invest in books that are going to sell relatively quickly. Okay. You can get a little more daring, right, as you have money coming in, because a big part of this business is what we'll call residual sales. So what's going to happen is you're going to ship a bunch of books in, and a bunch of them will sell really fast, and then some of them won't sell really fast. But what happens is those books kind of bide their time, and eventually they do sell. So the way it works out is pretty soon you've got your, we'll call it your back catalog, or the books that have been in inventory for quite a while. Those might be selling steadily. You'll get a few sales a week or something. But as you build up your inventory, those few sales a week can kind of snowball into. You'll look at your Amazon deposits and be like, wow, like a lot of these are books that I've had in inventory for months, but it's those are residual sales, or your back catalog. Now you won't have as many of those if you're only focused on really high demand books, right? Because these books are going to sell really quick. But as you get kind of down in this range, these books won't sell quite as quickly, right? So you might be thinking, well, okay, cool. I'm just going to keep this to like 10,000 or better, and then I'll only invest in books that are really high demand. They'll fly out the door. Okay, sure, you can do that. But remember what I said a second ago, that everything good comes at a cost. Okay, so why would you not want to focus on just the most high demand books? Well, one of the first reasons is actually two reasons. One reason is the books are going to be really expensive. They tend to be, the books that are really high demand tend to be really expensive. Okay, but you might be okay with that. Okay, so that might be not an issue for you. But the biggest reason of all is that the vast majority of books that are high demand are really cheap, in the sense that Amazon is selling them for a really low price. Okay, because again, there's not a lot of books that are really high demand that are $150 or even $50, right? The vast majority of books that are selling lots of copies are Hunger Games, or National Geographic, or these books that have $7 cover prices, right? So the vast majority of books that are really high demand, Amazon is selling for a super cheap price. So then you're like, okay, well, I could set it for 10,000 or better, and then just set a floor for Amazon's price. Yeah, you could do that, but just keep in mind, when you start doing that, you're going to be seeing like very few results. Okay, so what I recommend is be really relaxed about this standard. Don't just focus on the most high demand books. If you don't know how sales rank works, you must. Okay, I can't. There's no other way for me to say it. You must understand this. There is no business if you don't understand sales rank. So we have a chart on the onboarding page, in the training portal. You don't have to study it down to the number. Just take about 30 seconds, kind of take it in, get a rough idea of how sales rank works, get a rough idea of what these numbers translate to in terms of how many books are selling per day. At 1,000 or lower, it's like hundreds or thousands of copies a day. And then as you get more relaxed, a book of 500,000 average is probably only selling like, one book every 2 days or so, right? And that kind of strikes the right balance to where you're seeing a lot of results, right? And when you hit search, you're seeing a lot of results, but you're also not seeing so many that you're not seeing like results that aren't going to sell for you anytime soon, right? So that's the kind of balance you're trying to strike. So that's how that works. That's how that will make you money. Next up is the textbooks only checkbox. Now, I have to really stress this. We have a textbook only database. we curate it, right? It's about 400,000 books that we have classified as textbooks. But I cannot stress enough that it is very imperfect. Okay, there is no strict definition of what a textbook is or what it isn't. So the way we curate our database is, I won't bore you with the details, but there's several ways that books get added to our textbook only database. You will notice in our textbook database that there is a lot of books that just simply don't look like textbooks. You're like, why the heck is this there? It is imperfect. Okay, I'm being completely blunt about that. Now, we do a pretty good job, but it's not perfect. So one of the biggest newbie mistakes is that people come in and they're like, all right, I heard that textbooks are the most profitable category, so I'm only gonna search for textbooks. So they check that box, and then you just eliminated like 90% of the results, right off the top. And then they start getting really conservative, like, okay, I want a fast book selling book, so I'm gonna set this to 30,000 or better, and then I want a high Amazon price, so I'll see really, I want to raise that pricing ceiling, and then they see no results, and they don't understand why. And the answer is because this is like, look how conservative this is. You're setting like so many parameters. There's very few books for which all of these are going to apply, right? And then you limited your search database to search results to like 400,000 right off the top, right? So point is that the textbook only database it's good for what it is, but just understand it has limitations, right? Understand there's going to be a ton of profitable books, the majority of profitable books that don't find their way into the textbook only database. Okay, I'm not saying don't use it. I'm just saying understand it has limitations, and it really pays to not limit yourself to this. Okay. So next up, other filters, only titles with trade-in value. Now this is pretty straightforward. Amazon has anywhere between 100,000 and 400,000 books at any given moment they will offer you trade-in value for. Now, I won't give you the whole tutorial about like what trade-in arbitrage is or how that works. We have a separate video about that. But just understand that when you check this box, we will only show you books that Amazon is offering instant trade-in credit for, which is literally about 1% of our database, okay? It's a big misconception that Amazon offers trade-in value for everything. No. It's not even 2%. It's like closer to 1%, sometimes less, okay? So you're literally eliminating 99% or more of the search results when you check this box. Now, with that understanding, trade-in arbitrage, the basic way that it works, and this is a super simplified version, is that basically occasionally, not very often, but there are books for which Amazon's trade-in value, or the used price, will actually be below the trade-in value. So you can buy at the used price and then instantly trade it in and use that to fund your book arbitrage purchases, okay? That's basically how that works. Okay, so next up, this is pretty straightforward, but results per page, 150 or 250. Sort results by used price, low to high, new price, low to high, Amazon's price, low to high, sales rank, best sales rank to worst sales rank, and then publication date, which honestly, of all these, I think publication date is like the least useful. That's not really... I just don't think you should use it. It's there because some people like it, but people confuse publication date with being related to sales rank, and it's not. There are books that are published in 1980 that are still selling really, really well, and you can profit from, and there are books published in 2019 that are ranked horribly. Okay, so sales rank is what measures demand, not the year. But some people like this, so we leave it there. But it's not very useful. Next up, decrease competing offers. And this should actually more accurately be headed decrease competing FBA offers. Okay, so what this is the total number of offers that are for sale for any given book. You see that right here in this column, used, new. We have a different figure for each one. So there's 1,200 copies of this Hunger Games book for sale, and 140 new, 2,000 for this, 102 for that. And that's merchant fulfilled and FBA. Okay, it's everything combined. So since we can't see the number of FBA offers and we can't sort by that, we have the next best thing, which is to sort by the total number of offers. Now, the concept here is that the lower this number, the higher the likelihood of there being either really, really high-priced FBA offers that allow us to profit, or no competing FBA offers at all. And the logic here is pretty straightforward, which is, let's just say that 10%, or it's probably less than that, but 10% of all sellers are FBA sellers. That means for every 10 copies that are for sale on average, so 10 on average, there'll be one competing FBA offer. I don't know the real number, I'm just making that up, but the point is, the lower we get that number, the higher the likelihood of there being, again, either no competing FBA offers at all or really, really high-priced FBA offers, because, again, the more competing FBA offers that are for sale, the more competition, the lower those prices go. So if you've got a book where there's only one competing FBA offer, only one offer for sale at all, then there's a very good chance that book is priced really, really high. Or at least if the seller knows what they're doing, they're going to price it really high because they have no competition, right? But then what happens when 2 sellers come in, and then 10, and then 30? Everybody's underpricing everybody, and it's a race to the bottom, right? So the lower this number, again, the more quality the search results are going to be, because you're just going to find a lot more profit. So again, you're like, cool, I'll just set this to 10, and therefore every result will either have no FBA offers at all, which is probably the case, or maybe one at the most. And yes, again, I say in my fatherly tone, yes, you could do that. But again, everything good comes at a cost, right? You're going to eliminate the number of books that are for sale that have less, 10 that have 10 offers or less is minuscule, right? So you don't want to get too greedy. You don't want to get too lazy here and just set this number really low, because you're going to eliminate most of the results, right? Especially if you're using that in conjunction with literally anything else. So you're going to filter out, you're going to get no results. Probably one of the biggest questions we get in Zen arbitrage is, I set the search options a certain way, and you said you had 23 million books, and I only see 10 results. And then inevitably it's they said this, and this, and this, and this, and it's yeah, dude. In fact, I bet if I hit search now, there's gonna be no results at all. Yeah, there's no way that you're gonna see anything. Yeah, see what I mean? It's just too narrow, and you're not gonna see anything. So, rather than get greedy and just go boom all the way down to the bottom here, what you want to understand about this and the way this works is that this is contingent or hinges upon sales rank. Okay, so you might, one of the common questions that comes up is, okay, cool, so if you're saying the lower the better, just give me the exact number that's the perfect balance between seeing lots of results and a high percentage of those results having low FBA competition. Just give me the number. And people always go, just give me the number. That's not how it works. It's not that simple, because it hinges upon sales rank. Here's why. There are books, if you set it just to 1,000 or lower, and you brought this all the way up to 120, there's probably, because the demand is so high, and there's hundreds of books being sold, every hour when you get up to ranks this high, right? Because there's so many books being sold, you can have 120 overall offers for sale, and still there's room for profit. There's still FBA offers that are priced so high you can profit. And the reason is because they're selling so fast, so they're selling out. And so, the higher the sales volume, the higher the FBA price, right? And so so that can work. This number can actually work at a rank of 100,000 or better, even 5,000 or better. But guess what? If you set to 1 million or better, and books that have 120 overall offers for sale, guess what? No chance. No chance. The FBA offers, there's going to be a glut of lowball FBA offers. Okay, so the number of offers that are for sale, whether you're setting used or new, is it's only relevant in relation to the sales rank. Okay, because the lower the demand, the lower this number should be. Okay, so again, we're getting up here to 149 offers for sale max. Probably, again, if you're seeing books that are ranked 500,000 that have 150 offers for sale, quite frankly, you're just literally 0% of those are going to be profitable. Okay, so there is no one way to set, just like any of these, there is no one right way to set the number. It's all how the search options work in conjunction with each other. Okay, because again, the number is going to be different depending on how you have everything else set over here. So with that understanding, I will say it is extremely rare to find books of any sales rank that have 120 offers for sale or more where there's still room for profit. Okay, so you might want to start thinking about dropping this down. So let's say, for example, your sales rank parameters were 1 million or lower. So you're going to see books that, some books that are frankly not really selling that often, maybe only selling once every 10 days or so. You probably want to keep this number pretty low, right? Because again, these books aren't selling very often. FBA prices start dropping, and this number, you should set this lower. Now, if you were setting 10,000 or lower on the other end of the spectrum, well, you can maybe raise this number quite a bit, get up to 100 and still see profit. Okay, so that's how that works. Really, really important to understand. So the way this makes you money, very, very specifically, is this increases the likelihood of finding high-priced FBA offers or none at all. Okay, same as before. Don't set used and new at once. Do one or the other. Moving onward, I think we covered this, so I'll just cover this really quick. Apply filters is just the search button. Clear all filters resets all of this to the default. It basically just makes everything as broad as possible, just zeroes everything out, resets everything to default settings. By the time you see this icon, there may be an icon here. We're thinking about changing some stuff here, but this is the save search. Okay, so if you do a search and you find, wow, like you set things just in a very specific way, maybe a keyword over here, title keyword, and you're like, wow, this brought up a lot of profitable books, like an unusually high number. You don't have to remember how you set that search. You can just save it, and you save it and you just give it a name, biology, textbook, whatever, and save it, and it will automatically save it over here. These are your save searches, right? So very, very powerful. A lot of people miss this. Really, really important. Again, if you find a really profitable search, you should be saving it. But I will give this disclaimer that because everything is constantly changing, a search that brings up a lot of good results now, a week from now may be irrelevant, right? Or a month from now may be irrelevant. So don't get comfortable where you like, oh, I found a couple good searches. Don't think you can just save them and then just put your feet up and now you can just build a whole business around that. Because chances are a week or two from now, the results won't be as good anymore. And maybe searches you did previously that had very few profitable results have a lot of profitable results, right? So save searches don't last forever. This is a dynamic database. We're churning over millions and millions and millions of books every day. Everything changes constantly, okay? Let's jump over here. Again, these are save searches, really straightforward. Again, some of this may not look the same way by the time you see it. Don't be too alarmed. But as of right now, there's a drop-down menu here. You can view everything, which is what the default view. Your purchases, which does the same thing as the tracking link right here at the top. That's just where you can review all of your purchased items, track your profits, everything, export it to a spreadsheet, just track everything. That's our in-house tracking program. Everything you reviewed, and so that's a page where you can mark anything as reviewed right here. And this can mean whatever you want it to mean. I'll get to that in a second. Basically, anything you have marked with this little eyeball icon gets saved to its own page here. And then my alerts are your email price drop alerts. And I'll explain what that is in a second. This is exporting your search results. So if you do a search and you're one of those Excel junkies, which I am not, like I have no idea I don't even know what people use this for. I just know we got a lot of requests for it. What this will do is this will export the first 500 results from any search. Now you're like, well, the injustice, like why can't I export my entire search? Well, the reason is that if you just did the broadest possible search, which is what we're doing right now, you can just export our entire database, and we can't really have that. So it's limited to the first 500 results, okay? And again, you Excel junkies will know what to do with that better than I will. Okay, so that's all of the search parameters and a couple other things. Now we're getting into the actual search results. Okay, so this is where it gets, I don't want to say more fun, but This is where things are a little bit different. Okay, first up, ISBN. This will go really quickly, by the way, because this stuff's really simple. What this does is this links you directly to the Amazon page where you can view all offers, including the offers that you're going to pay for. Okay, so again, this is what you click when you're ready to buy or when you want to investigate a book. When you're not looking at the FBA offer, when you're looking at all offers. Okay, so again, you're just seeing every single book that's for sale from the cheapest on upwards. Okay, so this is what you click when you're ready to make a purchase or you want to scrutinize a book more. This is the title, pretty self-explanatory. This is the used price and new price from third-party sellers, and again, this is the price including the shipping. This is the actual price you're going to pay when you click over to Amazon. And again, I can just do it again for you. Really, really simple. You'll see this book here is a penny plus $3.99 postage, and as such, you'll see $4 here. So it's truly the cost you're going to pay for the book. Hover over any price and get the 6-month pricing history chart from Keepa. Okay, so this comes directly from Keepa, so you can see what the historical trends are. This is useful for a lot of things. You can see, hey, maybe this book is priced, I'm paying $4 for it. Maybe and that's a bad example because it's a cheap book, but then maybe there's a book that's, you're thinking about buying for 20, and you might look and you go, wow, historically this book is actually selling for 10. If I bought it for 20 now, I would be really, really paying too much. And so then you can go over here and set a price alert, and then you can say, hey, let me know when the book price drops to its average value of 10, and then you click submit, and you just set up a price alert for that. Okay, so that's how that works. So you see the 6-month pricing history chart for used and for new. We get directly from Keepa. Really, really valuable. This helps you again understand what the historical price is, what the average is, so you know, hey, if you're paying too much, too little, etc., etc. Or what the trends are, like, oh wow, this book is on a sharp downward trend. Like maybe if I wait longer, the price will go down even more. There's just all sorts of useful insights you can glean from these charts. Next up, so we knew Amazon's price. We talked about this earlier. This is the price that Amazon is selling the book for when you buy directly from them. Okay. For some reason, there's a lot of confusion about this. I don't really understand why, but I think people don't understand that there's third-party sellers and there's Amazon, right? And there's third-party merchant fulfilled, third-party FBA, and then Amazon. Those are the 3 types of sellers. Okay. Next up is the FBA column. This is super, super important to understand. Okay, so you see how there's a magnifying glass icon for a lot of these. Particularly, this happens a lot more with the really cheap books. You'll see the magnifying glass maybe 20% of the time on average, whereas with the cheap books, it's a lot higher than that. It's like 50 or so. But let me explain what this is. And you'll see when you hover over the magnifying glass, you'll see this little dialog box that pops up. It's very important you understand what is in this box. When there is a magnifying glass, it does not mean there are no FBA offers at all. It means one of 2 things. Either, yes, there could be no FBA offers, but more than likely there is an FBA offer, yet it is simply not in the lowest 20 priced offers. It's just a limitation of Amazon. Amazon does not share any FBA offers with any third-party software if they are priced above the bottom 20. Okay, this is not just an arbitrage. This is any repricing software, any scanning app, any third-party tool, period, is subjected to this limitation. Okay, so you might be looking and go, oh, cool, this is a book that has no FBA offer. I'm going to jump on it. In all likelihood, it does have an FBA offer. In fact, we can click over and see and just verify this. And you can see right at the top, there are FBA offers, but they're just not in the bottom 20. In other words, there are at least 20 offers that are priced below $6.77. That's all that means, right? And again, that's just a limitation that Amazon imposes on all third-party data. So please understand that, because you're going to look and you're going to think that we're not doing our job. Basically, you're going to think, wow, it said no FBA offers, but there was. And I clicked over and I could see that there were. That's not what the magnifying glass means. Okay, so it means one of these 2 things. So if you don't remember this, just hover over any magnifying glass, look at this box in the future, and get a refresher. Okay. And then just, we covered all this stuff in other videos in the quick start video, but just as a refresher, the easiest way to see profit with Zen arbitrage, the easiest way is if you see a gap, and this is a bad search because it's, it's just the cheapest books, and if there's a gap between the price in the used column or the new column and the FBA price that allows you room for profit, that's the easiest way to spot profit, is just to compare one of these 2 columns with this column, right? Now, there's the vast majority of books that you're going to profit from. It's not going to be that easy because you're going to be pricing higher than the lowest FBA offer, or the book's going to have a magnifying glass, so you can't see what the lowest FBA offer is. But the home run winners, like the super lazy man way to make money with an arbitrage, is just compare the used column or the new column, but used is usually cheaper. The cheapest of these two, the used column with the FBA column. And if you see room for profit, that's a winner, right? It's the easiest way to make money with an arbitrage. But as I said, the majority of books, it's not going to be that easy, but just so you understand. Okay, number of used offers for sale, number of new offers that are for sale. This combines a merchant fulfilled and FBA. This is another distinction that's really hard to a lot of people miss. And this column will be invisible, by the way, if you switch to streamline view. We take away the current rank, but assuming you have it to enhanced view, the current rank is a very different thing than the average rank. Okay, the average rank, as I said earlier, is the 12-month average rank. We simply just take all the data we store over a year, we average it out, and this is the best measure of a book's demand, is the average rank. Okay, the current rank is a very different thing. All that a current rank is just what's the book ranked right now. Now, this can be very, very deceiving. Sometimes you'll see like a massive difference between these two numbers. Like even with this one, 15,000 and 2,000 is like a huge difference. The reason the difference can be so massive is that, let's just say you've got a book that's average rank is like 5 million. Like it's selling one copy every 3 years, right? But then you'll see the current rank is like 300,000. You're like, wait a minute, that's weird. The reason that's how current rank can be deceiving, because that book that has a current rank of 300,000 but an average of 5 million, that book probably just sold the only copy it sold in years, like 1 or 2 days ago, right? And so if you only look at the current rank and you make a decision based on that, you're going to end up making mistakes, right? That's why in the current rank can be useful for people that really like to dig in the data. Like there's some value here, but generally, especially if you're newer, just focus on the average rank. That's really all that matters when you're trying to measure a book's demand, okay? Next up is a trading column. Again, the vast majority of books Amazon does not offer trading value for. In fact, you can see there's literally nothing on this page that Amazon is offering trading value for. Next up is the publisher. Not terribly useful. Publication date, also not terribly useful. These are two columns that we make vanish in the streamline view. Okay, so now we're getting into the little icons on the side here. This is where you mark a book as seen. Okay, so this can mean whatever you want it to mean. It can mean, hey, this book is potentially interesting. I'm not going to buy it right now, but maybe I want to come back in the future. I want to kind of mark it. Say, hey, this is a book that that may potentially be profitable at some point. Just keep an eye on it. But I would say the most common use for this book is actually just to mark a book and say, hey, I looked at this book already. It's not good. I don't want to look at it again anytime soon. And so just, it's basically a way to remind yourself, hey, ignore this book. At any point, if you want to zero everything out and just erase these, click clear all marked, and that will erase all the seen books. Okay, so you can start fresh. Next up is bought. This is a very important thing. When you mark a book as purchased, let's say, you bought the book for $4 and you list it for, $50 or whatever. That's not very realistic, and you enter the quantity and you add to purchases, okay? What that does, that takes you to the tracking page that tracks all your purchases. So once you mark an item as purchased, it ends up right here in the purchase column. And then once it has been received, you mark it as received. You say, hey, I got that book. The book actually arrived. Right, the seller shipped it to me, so I got the book. And then when the book sells, you mark it as sold, and it gets moved over to this column, and you enter the price the book sold for, and we calculate all Amazon fees and give you your true net profit. Okay, pretty straightforward. It's really, really handy. Then you can export everything to a spreadsheet. We have a separate video about this. I'm not going to go into it, but there's lots of features here. But it allows you to track your profits and everything. It's just a cool, simple way to track your sales, your purchases, and your profits. Okay, next up is Bookfinder. Now, this is really powerful. powerful because a huge percentage of the time, the cheapest copy for sale is not the one on Amazon, okay? This will save you money a dramatic percentage of the time. Now, we automatically go, when you hover over this, we automatically go to Book Finder, we do a request, we say, hey, show us the cheapest copy anywhere on the internet, and you can see at least the top 1 or 2 results for used and new. And if you want to scrutinize it any further and go further down the page, you can do that by clicking over. So really straightforward, really powerful. You can literally just see the cheapest copy virtually anywhere on the internet without leaving Zen arbitrage. Really, really powerful. And like, you know, this isn't the best example because it's a cheap book. It's not profitable, but this book costs $4 on Amazon, $3.98. You can get it on eBay, postage paid, for $2.49, right? So again, not a big deal because you never buy this book anyway, but there's books especially when you're getting into like books you're spending $50 or $60 on, you can oftentimes find them for like $10, $15 less using Book Finder. So you should really be using this for every single search because there's no reason not to. It takes a split second and can save you a lot of money. Next up is our profit calculator. This is really, really straightforward and really, really powerful. So you just enter the price you're going to list the book for. You can enter the prep service if you're using the prep service. You know, most people don't, but if you're one of the people using the prep service, you enter the amount that they charge and the cost of the book, and then it automatically calculates your net profits, takes out all Amazon fees. Okay, really, really powerful, and it's just a great way to see at a glance. And especially as you're learning the business, you're not going to quite have a grasp on how Amazon fees work. So we do the work for you, basically. Okay, so that's another thing you should probably be doing for most of your searches until you get to the point where you can kind of mentally calculate Amazon fees, you know, roughly speaking. Next up is the lesser used options, but it's not to say not powerful. Still very powerful. Okay, so this one opens the Keep a page, and this is where you can kind of dig in to the historical data a little bit deeper. I would say of all of the drop-down menu options here, this one's probably the least useful because you should have Keepa installed anyway, and so this will embed this exact same chart right on the Amazon page. Okay, so you should really already have access to this inside of the actual Amazon page. Okay, price drop alerts, we talked about that a second ago. What you can do is 2 things here. You can say, hey, well, you might be looking at a book and say, hey, this book's selling for $30, but you know, I'm personally not willing to spend more than $20 per book. So, but this book looks good, so I want to know if the price ever drops below $20. Now, you might be thinking that's unrealistic, but keep in mind that Amazon prices are fluctuating like crazy on a literally second by second basis. Prices going up, prices going down. They're going all over the place. And it's just like this buzzing hive of activity, and it's very realistic for a book, you know, especially high demand books, for the price to go from 35 to 25 to 15 to 20 to 40 all in one day. Okay, so what this means is the second we detect the price of a book has dropped, we email you instantly. Okay, so pretty powerful. You can set an unlimited number of results. So again, this is really, really powerful. And then trade-in value, which is not gonna, you know, it's not gonna be something you use as often, but trade-in value, what this does is this alerts you if the trade-in value goes up above a certain amount. So that's that. Next up is list the book for sale in a marketplace. Now you should know what the marketplace is. If you don't, check our other videos about that. But the function of this is, let's say you find a book and it's a profitable book and it will make somebody profit, but you know, it's outside of your parameters, outside of your standards. In other words, maybe it's not selling fast enough for you, or you know, you need 100% return on your investment and the book's only bringing 75% returns or whatever, right? Then you can just list it for sale in our marketplace. And what this is, you list the lead for sale, the ISBN for sale, and then we show others in Arbitrage members a list of all the books, and it displays their net profit, the sales rank, everything. And then if yours is for sale and others in Arbitrage members like what they see, they will pay you instantly via PayPal, and there's really nothing that you have to do once you create a listing. You just simply enter, the ISBN is already preloaded. You enter the lowest FBA offer, and then you enter the price you're willing to sell the book for, or the lead for rather. Remember, there's no books being sold here. And then your PayPal address, you click create listing, and it's live for sale instantly where other people can pay you. So basically, it's just a quick way to monetize searches that you've already done anyway, right? You've already done the work. You see here, this takes like literally not even 10 seconds to create a listing. And you're basically turning searches into cash without actually investing any money at all. We have people who only list in the marketplace, by the way. That's a totally viable way to make money. So we have other videos about that. Next up is the checking your restrictions. What this does when you click this is it opens a tab on Amazon where you can find out instantly if you're allowed to sell the book or not. Okay, you must do this for every single book that you purchase. You must check if you're allowed to sell the book before you purchase it, because Amazon does restrict certain books from being sold by certain sellers, particularly newer sellers that have more severe restrictions. As you get more experience, as you get more sales, those restrictions will ease up. But no matter where you are, on that timeline, you must check your restrictions for every single book that you purchase. As a matter of fact, this is so important. We may actually make this more prominent. We may actually put this like next to the Bookfinder link, because it's something you really need to click for every single book. Okay, you gotta always check, make sure you're allowed to sell the book before you invest in the book. Okay, next up is the open all tabs link. And what this does, I actually don't even remember every tab that opens. I think it opens like the Bookfinder tab, the page on Keepa. It opens 2 pages on Amazon. I think the all offers and then the FBA offers. So you basically just get this explosion of tabs that open, and so you don't have to click each of these. If you're one of those people that really likes to like drill down into analyzing every book in a really specific way, you're probably opening all these tabs anyway. So with this allows you to do it with one click. Okay, and every time you click this, it just refreshes the same tab with a new book. Okay, so that's it. And then I don't know if I mentioned this earlier, but there's a chat box here, and you can get you can search by keyword for different articles, get the answers you need, or start a conversation with us and get the answers you need if you don't find what you want here. Very, very cool. And that's basically it, you guys. And I went really, really deep into this, like more deep than I needed to, honestly. I'm probably going to make a short, there's probably going to be another video if you want a refresher where I just go through all of this in like 1/4 of the time. I really wanted to take my time with you because this is really important stuff, right? So now that you know, okay, by the way, at this point, you should have watched the Quick Start web class, where we went into all the principles, all the like concepts, all that more abstract stuff, the higher level stuff. With this, we got into how to set the search out, how the search options work, what the function of all the search options are, so it's more tactical. And the next video I want you to watch is the video on how to analyze books to decide if they're worth purchasing. Okay, so we went through in a kind of a linear fashion. We gave you the high level stuff with the Quick Start web class. Then we drilled down specifically to how to use the search dashboard in this video, right? The next video is once you actually bring up a list of results, how do you analyze them to determine which books are good to buy? That's what the next video is. Make sure you watch that one. Thank you for watching. Let's go make some money.